take a look at the lawmen beating up the wrong guys, and oh no, look at those cavemen go. It's the freakiest show. It's part 29. You saw us leave off part 28 doing the heater. They can't keep us away from the workshop. We're going to go back and finish that heater with a nice restoration intro. We'll get that boxed off. Guess what? Heater box boxed off. It's all fine. It's 29. Let's do this. One day I was pulling like a traction engine. It's on rails. Let's do it. Just going in with a blade now, very carefully. I've got a blade. Watch you don't cut yourself. In I go. Just to break that seal. It's like a mastic seal. Well, I'm using a blade freehand, but suggest for you guys, not the best move. I might grip it just because I can get in a bit more with this. Over I go. That's as much as I dare to go that side. I'm going to carry on working round. Remember, prise this wrong and it'll just crack and that's it, you're finished. Or you could get a plastic motor blower casing and still fit it, but nothing better than having the real deal. So we're feeling it, and we had a ping there then, that was a good sign. Just take your time, be as patient as you can, just feel it out, and each little move. I've got a screwdriver now and I'm just rotating the screwdriver sideways a little bit. I'm going to go for a larger blade as soon as I can get more gap under, which so I can now. Larger blade in, just slowly going forwards on that larger blade, bringing it round and listening out for the mastic breaking. So we'll cut to it when that's popped off. Hold on, we'll be right back. Okay, we're making good progress. I'm just working around towards the 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 6 o'clock for you guys, 12 o'clock for me. Coming round, larger blade in as you can see, just wiggling it, feeling the mastic. Just be careful, because once these fiberglass heater boxes are gone, they're gone forever. There's a finite number left, and once you broke it, you can do a repair, you can fiberglass repair it, but it's not quite fiberglass, it's a kind of plasticky feel to it. Have a look, here it goes, coming up to you now. So our motor there actually got a good bearing on it. Actually feels alright that, so a minimal refurb for that. We take this nut out and we get that gold passivated and we get those screws replaced, and we fix this little troublesome plug there which they always break away. You can see that the fiberglass has broke away. Now, as you pull that plug it breaks, so we use a compound inside and let it set inside. There we go, you can see it just catching the light there. So we'll let that compound set and we'll clean that plug up. We put a little bit of cleaner on the plug and get that plug nice, and then we give this just a light clean up and a buff up, and we'll see how it is. We might dust it in with a satin and then lacquer it, and then that's our unit done. We'll clean that up. So we wrap that safely to one side now. It's out of the way so we don't damage it. Okay, that gives us this strip down. So now we'll tackle the heater box. Just pull the screws out. The heater box has got 2 Phillips screws in it. We need to get the right size screwdriver in there. There's nothing better than getting a screwdriver that fits perfectly your posi drives or your Phillips. And then we go for it. And that one's tight. We can grind the head off if we have to. That one's not going. I'm going to flip this round. Being careful as I flip it round where I'm placing the tension. Noticing that there's some washers coming off that's supported the heater box there. 3 washers. We need to make sure we remember to put those on. So you're overhead, you can see this Phillips screw. I'm right on top of it. That one's okay, so we're out of the top one. So just the bottom one then, flipping it round vertically. It's now there. Doesn't look the best condition, part of the screws deteriorated away there, so we can grind off if we have to. or we can just get some grips on it. We might be able to grip that. We're just having a look in the toolkit now. I'll be right back, hold on. I found a better angle of attack here. Nice long nose again come into play, and we just grip there, and I've slowly started to loosen it just nicely like that, and all the drilling on top's probably heated it up, and it's away, so we're okay there. We've got that coming in, and just long nose, good quality long nose, said it on the other videos, really help. So with no damage, and we've got that C screw out of there, bit of drilling, bit of persuasion, and there he is, our little troublemaker there. So now we can extract the heater box. So back on the tripod for you guys, up we go, and then let's flip this round so you can get your seagull eye view. Back on there you go, off you go. Okay, you're back up on top, and I'm just going to get that screw just there in the middle bottom of your screen now. That's now a heater box lid, or a radiator cover lid that's not held in with a screw, so we're going to try and ease it out. Again, being careful because of the fiberglass situation. So should be able to take the entire assembly out in one operation. Now it's seized at this end, but not seized structurally, just crud, and it should go. A little bit of a shake. That's the one. Right, grabbing it by the hose connectors. Away you go. It's a dual core rad. Straight away, it's the heavy duty rad, the larger setup. So we can get that recored if we want. We'll have a look at that radiator at a later point. That plate needs a little bit of welding, but it's a salvageable plate. It's quite straight. I've already got one in stock. They normally go completely rot through at these ends. That one's not. That'll clean up. So we're okay there. So a radiator to recore if possible. I have got another one if not. So that's that one. Put that to one side. Now what I want to start doing is taking off the mounting metal brackets there, just by drilling them. Again, it's a drilling operation. Pretty easy to just go through these. Nearly. We're okay. That's the heads off. Now just go slight drill bit down. But I don't want to enlarge. I don't want to enlarge the mount plate hole, so I just go a drill bit down and finish off. And rivets there, straight through. That's that. Okay, so that bracket will now lift. It's just at the edge of your screen, isn't it? Let me come back and I'm watching you on screen as well. Make sure you can see what's going on. That's sort of stuck. There it goes. Mount bracket off. You can see that it had a black finish. Some were galvanised, some were coated in a satin. Actually a gloss actually. That's that one off, so we need to get the next one off. Again, being careful. Straight through these now with that drill bit. The other drill bit I had just there was the wrong size, it's too big. That's that. Now this should come off as well quite easy. There we are. So two brackets into the pot, so we're collecting all the bits into the pot. Now they have an internal piece as well into the pot. Should be the other internal piece. Grab that, there it is. So we've got those. We've already got a set of them anyway, but it's nice to build up spares. Right, now the next thing I want to do, I'm going to take the back off the unit by just prising up the little spring clips that hold everything together. There's quite a few of these, so we'll go around and pop them off. You'll go to fast forward now, so we'll see you in fast forward. Right, what I've done, this is the real key now. I've just took the rest of the rivets out because the inner structure, we're trying to take the back piece off. You saw us there just finishing off with those rivets and clips in fast forward. Now, I've drilled these rivet heads off. Now look what happened, it's so fragile. There's one that's broke and it's took the back of the fiberglass away because it really is mega brittle. I mean, you only got to tap this and it breaks. And we want to keep it because it's original fiberglass box. We're going to try and do it. I mean, we've got to be so careful here. If it goes wrong and it breaks, we revert back to a plastic Mark 5 box, which are indestructible, but they don't look with the they don't look the same. They haven't got that grainy finish to them, but we can affect that grainy finish. If that's what we have to do, that's what we'll do. But you can't separate the two halves yet until you've done all the rivets. And then when you do, get a blade like this. Now this is the bottom edge. I'll pull back so you can see where you're at. You're flipped upside down. This edge will probably be stubborn and still be attached, so you just go in with the edge of the blade here, and I'm just twisting it so that I've got as much surface area as I can. I'm not putting any local pressure on, but you might break it little bits off. I'm afraid a lot of it's unavoidable. So that's starting to separate away and just loosen up. I want to do that all the way around where I think it's stubborn and slowly start easing the box apart. So we're going to look for any other areas now which are stuck. Alright, I'm going to go round carefully along that line and just start loosening it. It's starting to go. Alright, so I'll be back with you in a sec when I've gone round all the way around it. So we'll be wrapping up soon, and part 29 will have us refurbing and rebuilding this box, because I think we're running over an hour now, I'm going to guess, based on what I've uploaded on this part 28. Keeps you in the loop. Towards the end, you saw that little clip of the car body as well. We'll be including more of that. I'm trying to keep the time down to a manageable hour for you. We'll soon go over that. There's that much things that we're doing. There's loads going on. Okay, so let's just finish this off and get all the parts laid out nicely and clean. Let's separate the rest of this heater box carefully. Then we'll call it a day, and we'll see you in 29. But before I go, let's get cleaned up on this box. Heater box, pre-facelift, fiberglass, refurb. Right, we're now up to the most difficult and fragile part of the operation. Everything's free, and we're sort of free here. You can see that opening up. This is the hardest part. You got to be really patient. Don't try and force it. It all has to go with just light work. If you start trying to pry it, you'll take chunks out. Now we've got one little piece out, but that's going to be under a clip, so we'll get away with that one. It's got a slight crack there, but that's under a bolt. We'll get away with that. Again, another chip out, but you've only got to go like that and then this will chip. Once it's in the car, it's pretty safe and locked away in the car so it can survive. But this is the problem. They've got glue going round that inner face lip. Luckily at this end the glue hadn't held, so now my hand is inside it. I've got the camcorder in the other, I shouldn't have really, and I'm rocking it just slowly, and I can feel it opening it up. But if you go too quick, it's just going to snap the back plate or the front. But I'm slowly rocking this now. You see a finger coming through, and the trace of the glue, the mastic line around the back that creates the airtight seal. If you try and leave on the top lip, you'll take chunks of the top lip off. So you've got to put your hand inside. We're going inside through the fan intake. What you don't want to do is lever from the top. You want to try and be inside it all the time and push outwards using a larger area, not the area here. Now the downside with that is it could just crack, but I don't think you're going to get it any other way. You could perhaps soak this in warm water, which might soften that mastic. If I found that I wasn't getting anywhere, I would have moved to that next, but I think this is going to pop. I think if I slowly go, I'm going to get this. Just try and ease it. Here's our pressure point now, just at that corner, and we don't want to lose that corner. If anything, we want the top and the high-vis parts to survive the operation. So far they have. I've got one little corner chip in the bottom, but that's okay. So far this is still salvageable. It hasn't lost the plot just yet, but it could very easily, one wrong move and this is game over and we're back to square one. It had to be tried because they're such a rare item, the heater boxes. They're certainly rare, undamaged. And you know, if I had my way, I'd remake this. It's a complex shape, We can make a Mark 5 one look similar, but you don't get all the ribs and effects on it that you do with this. These ribs aren't present on the Mark 5 mouldings, and we need them to look original. So we're going to go for it. I'm going to slowly put my hand back in there now. I'm trying to end on a good note, part 28, and get this laid out on the bench for you to see what we've got. Okay, my hands are going in now. Guys, I want you to be with me on the final push here. Look where my hand is. Now you might think, well, what's the point of this? You can't get these boxes. And it really is a high-vis item in the engine bay. And it's such an achievement if you can refurb one of these without any major damage. So that's why I want you to be with me on this. I'm just letting it lever, and I can feel the strands slowly separating out. I'm just listening and working my way through, trying to keep the palm of my hand on a larger surface area inside. We've got that far from round here. It's just this last corner down there. See that red glue? So I'm just letting it try and separate of its own accord without putting too much on it. We're nearly there. Let's just flip it up and have a little look round. Careful when you flip it up as well, because don't grab it from that area, because you can snap that edge off where the heater fits in too. So we're just all the actions down this end, coming round very slowly. Take it easy, it's nice and steady. And we're separated here, look. Oh, it's so fragile, but I don't want to lose it. I don't want to lose it, it's so fragile. This is the problem, it's this corner. You can see it, this last corner there, that's where it's going to be stubborn. There's not much to push against. See, where you're inside, there's not a lot to push against there. We're going in like this. I really wanted you to be with me on the last push as we go over the top of this one. Can you see? I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get you a good angle. I should concentrate on this job now, not the camera. Alright. Please just separate off this last little bit there. Look, see it? You just need to rock that gently out. Rock me gently, baby. Come on, you know you can do it. I'm going to give it a break. Let me get both hands in. I'm sure you'll know. It'll be worth it in a minute. To help you at home, I've fed the blade in there and I'm just trying to manoeuvre the blade slowly down. We've made progress. The blade's just working its way like a shark's fin down there now towards that last troublesome corner. I know the trouble's in that corner, that last corner. So we're nearly there, 95% of the way. I've just been feeling very carefully, and remember this is a bare blade, so I've been uber careful with it, just feeding it through. You see the strands of red just where we've cut through them. So we're at the last point now. Any second, give me two hands again, I'll be right back. I'll be right. It's gone. No damage, we've done it. We're down and through. Just a long blade came in handy. I'll show you what I mean. Just a nice long blade came in. I was able to just nip in very carefully. So no damage. So let's have an inspection. Let's separate the two halves out. The last bit there. Hear it? There it goes. Gone. Okay, we're separated. Let's lay everything out on the bench before we close up and see what we got. Okay, so we can withdraw the plastic frame and the metal flap. You can see how badly broke down that is. But we've got a new one of those that we've done previously. So it's quite simple arrangement inside, just the one flap, a plastic insert, so there's not much to refurb. We can have this done pretty quick. So we're all taken apart there, bring you right up, and that's it. So part 29 will see us putting this back together. So the damage on it is what was already on it, a little bit of damage at the front, but around the important bits around the top we're still intact. So we can get that back together with a new flap and foam pad fitted, re-rivet it with our new fittings. I'm hoping it'll survive the journey and make it onto the car in one piece. So I hope So heater box, I mean, you know, one boot, that'll just, my foot will go straight through it. Can we do it? I don't know, it's so fragile. Okay, anyway, I'm going to get some thinners on this now and just carry on. I just tried dusting it with a little bit of paint to see how it adhered, and that's good. I'm trying to scratch that off now, but it seems to be sticking well. So with that in mind, it's a small scrubbing brush. Again, we'll use the brush for, oh, the words escape me. Seam sealer, the brush for seam sealer. And we'll use that to get in these crevices with some thinners. Mask on, because the thinners always gets to my head. So mask on, and then just clean the rest of the surrounding paint, body shell, and then we'll get the paint onto this. We'll clean the inside as well. And then when it's all clean, we'll start riveting the plates back. I'll show you the goodie kit we've got already built for this, and we'll get that installed into the carrier inside, the flap carrier, and then we can rivet on the pipe clips, and then we'll just wait for the rest of the parts to arrive, so this heater box can be put to one side then. No damage on it particularly. I've got some JB weld which I'm going to use just to fix some of the little clip fragments that broke off. We're going to see how the JB weld works. Also, I'm going to be fitting the Plenum drain tongue. Now, it's lost the Plenum drain tongue on this, it's probably snapped off. They mainly did. When I talk about Plenum drain, what I mean is, on the early cars, on the 71 cars, which this is, just here where my finger is, there's a hole there that's for draining water out that gets trapped inside it, because this is connected to your scuttle intake. But also they have here what they call the Plenum drain, which is a tube which comes out from the bottom and slots onto a tongue here, and the tube to drain water away from the bulkhead onto the floor of the car. They discontinued using it, but I don't know why. It could have been that it didn't work, or that it jammed up with leaves or something and then caused water to flood out of the car, or it was a moisture trap or something. We're going to be using it, and obviously because the car's going to be high quality, we're always going to be on top of things like that, and it's garaged and in a heated garage and stuff, so we don't think that leaves and stuff are going to get in to our Plenum drain if that's what the fault was with it. So Plenum drain needs a locating tongue. As I said, it just sticks out of here, so we're going to have to make one because there isn't one on this. It might not have had it on this one. This isn't the original heater box, I don't think, out of the car. The original one's upstairs in the loft, and that has got the tongue on it, but it's not as in good condition as this box. So we just make the tongue lip. It's not seen when the Plenum drain tube fits. I'll get the drain tube now so you understand what I mean. What we're talking about is a very early fitment on the 71 cars, on J's and early K's, a little plastic tube for draining water away from the bottom of the bulkhead and down into the engine bay and onto the floor of the wherever the car's parked. I'll get that tube first, and we'll look at making the locating tongue for it. Let's go routing, and I'll find the tube. Alright, Plenum drain tube then. There you go. Once Know-It-All once said it's a heater fresh air vent tube, which I thought was quite funny. Right, okay, there it is. Now it picks up, it just uses the heater, it doesn't actually go into the heater, it just uses the heater as its mounting thing. You'll see the code at 71BB there on it. You'll not see one with a later code. Okay, the end of it here, this is the way it goes, that way, that's the top. This bit butts up against the bulkhead. If you look on a Cortina bulkhead, it comes down like that into a sort of bowl at the bottom on the right hand side. On a right hand drive car, on the right hand side, the bulkhead dips down in the engine bay, makes that shape that this just sits over, and this piece goes up to that bulkhead. The bottom of the water comes down and normally just dribbles down the inside of the chassis leg, and it does that on all post 71 cars. But this butts up to it, and the water is supposed to drain down inside this tube and away from the chassis inner wing and down onto the floor. So discontinued using it. The bulkhead here, this fits up against the bulkhead, so that's the back, that's how far the tube goes. So it goes in that far underneath here. Alright, so we line it up underneath there. We go and look at the other heater box and we do a comparison. So I'll go and get the other heater box down now so we can look at how it fits side by side. Then we'll get that mount plate made and fitted, and then we can carry on cleaning and getting everything ready. Also going to fit some support plates which they didn't have. See where those rivets have ripped out? I didn't do that, by the way, it came like that. Inside it we're going to fit a metal plate for the rivets to engage into so that you can't rip it out that way. Okay, and so we're going to go and do that as well. Also notice on this one I can only see 2 holes at the moment for the heater tube, where I'm sure they have another one fitted at the side here, so this one hasn't got that. Not quite sure why. We're going to do some comparisons, so run up into the loft, up the ladders, get the other heater box down. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, here's another heater box from stores with a Plenum drain tube attached. I'll show you how that fits right now. We just slowly turn it round. There's a locating tab just coming up. Off it goes. So a little tab like that this slots onto, indicating this was one of the very early heater boxes. You can see there's a scallop shape out there that also fits over. So it slots over the scallop shape and down and becomes part of the heater. But they didn't all have them, and it could be that the box I've got there was because the fiberglass box continued on into the facelift cars, so it's quite probable they stopped putting the tang on. This is probably the original heater box that I need, but it's got damage on it. Quite a big piece of fiberglass smashed out there, so I didn't want to use it. Other than that, the box is actually quite good. There's that other heater hose bracket there that we need to be looking at. So twin hoses, and that hasn't got it on that other box. That might have been something that they added. So we need to emulate that. That's easily done. We can use a piece of plastic, and we need to make this built into the top. So I'm going to line them up side by side so that I can see exactly the shape I need to make, because I want this on. So other heater box now to be taken up. This screw, hold on, this screw was in there, but it's probably not the original screw. But that's a locating screw, which interestingly that hasn't got the pilot hole for it to go through. Okay, down my hand goes very carefully, grabbing this, just so carefully, raising up, and then flipping over to compare how we're going to do this bad boy. So there you can see it's totally flat, so this wasn't the box which they used. A larger drain hole compared to that earlier drain hole as well. Not looking if there's any other marking differences. Delair stamped down the side. There it's not as pronounced. It is there, it's can't quite tell if it's facing the same way. That would tell us if it's a different mould that they used. They most likely did use a different mould. Yes, the Delair lettering on this one is upside down compared to this, so we've got different model of box. Interesting little tech train spotting tip for you. That will appeal to a small percentage of people. Interesting though. You can see that my corner's intact and this one's got a huge chunk missing out of it. What a shame. We may one day come up with a way of fixing that. Hasn't got the scallop mounting point. See here, it's totally missing. So we need to do something there. Okay, on with modification now for this. I'm going to go and have a think, see what I'm going to do. Right, I've come up with a solution. We've got a nice bracket going on there now. We've made a right angle piece of ABS plastic. It's going to blend in. So we've just got some epoxy on it, setting it. We're just going to let that go off. Then we'll shape that a little bit, and that should hold our plenum drain in. In the meantime, I've just got some cleaning solution, and I'm going through cleaning the inside of this, actually just using thinners. I'm just going to clean the inside of the box while waiting for that epoxy to cure. Okay, with the first section, hold on, I'm just going to stick the light on the side for you. It's the first section on. That's with the L shape at the back. That's the epoxy setting. I'm going to show you what we're using to do it. Slowly just come back down here. Up we come with what we got. Gorilla epoxy in a tub. Great stuff. Just squeeze the two pistons together, mix your epoxy with a spatula, then just pull back on the pistons and it'll draw the fluid back into those tubes. It doesn't set. Fantastic, top rated stuff that is. I always have that handy around. Gorilla epoxy. There are other similar ones around. That one's a good one. So that's set on the L shape at the back, and that's it feels really strong. I'm just giving it a little bit of pull and it's fine. And then what we do, we just sandwich another piece of plastic, ABS plastic, just on top so it sits flush there. Then squeeze that together, and that's going to give us a laminate. The glue's coming out the edge there, which is what we want. Then what we're going to do, because this is like a wedge shape, we're just going to create that wedge shape on here with a croc sander once that's set, and we'll just shape that up nicely with a slight taper on the end, and then we're good to go. It should be close to original there. So nice little touch on the heater box for the plenum drain tube, slotting into there like that. Okay, we're making good progress on the heater box. We've just got I've got a metal rule and I'm just scraping down the old glue and foam seal off the back of this piece whilst I was waiting for some paint to dry. Now I'm just going to flip it around. A little bit of paint on satin, just being dusted on. Just testing a few areas. Don't worry about this because you can be as rough as you want with this paint. Just dust it on and it's a fiberglass finish, it doesn't matter. But I left you off just earlier on, we were doing the gluing and the building of the plenum drain. So we're going to take you over to the plenum drain now. You'll see that I've shaped a piece of plastic here and we've used that Gorilla epoxy to attach that with a little bracket at the edge just to give it something to anchor. And we've made, I shall get you the light, hang on, it's coming in. We've made that little bracket there, that catches the shape. And then at the top I think you're going to like this tab that we've done. There's the tab blended in nicely, you can't even tell. Look at that. Okay, so we've slightly chamfered the edge and you'll see now what will happen. We shall now grab the plenum drain tube. So there's the receptacle for it. The screw goes through the top and then that's got to fit over there. So look how we go over there, over here, round the side here now. We're going to slot over. I can tell you it's going to work because I tried it. Oh, in we go. Look, look. We're on, and that supports it at the bottom. So you've got that support at the bottom, it's not waggling about, and then that's on nicely at the top. The whole affair, we'll have to grab from the back. Can I do it at a slight angle, overhang it off the desk, and you'll see what we've got, what I'm talking about. And that's very nice indeed. So that looks original. Now that really does look nice at the top, you couldn't tell. So we've done the plenum bit, so all we've got to do now is just carry on refurbing. So plenum done to one side, let's get back onto cleaning. I've just got some thinners and a brush and we're just brushing out all the debris. Then we'll start putting light dustings of satin on this. and leaving it while we're doing other jobs. So we're just going to start building up layers of satin, and we're just going to dust and speckle it on, because it's just, that's the finish that it is. So we're working really well here on this heater box refurb. Okay, just giving this a little buff down with some just some 100, and just taking off any grease and any imperfections. Seems alright. Don't worry, this comes back nice and black. We can see there the fibres that you often see when the heater box fades away. I think you would have found when they come out of the factory that white wasn't there, and it would be satin black. Could be that the resin was already in the fibre, the colouring was already in the fiberglass as a sort of dye in the resin, you know. So I'm just sanding that down, hand sanding that down, getting in any crevices I can as well, digging out the dirt from those. I use a little screwdriver with the cloth on the end of the screwdriver, and then just hook it in and dig out, and then brush back with a brush like this, so that we've got every crevice is covered there. And then we can finish off, and then we'll just go over it with thinners on a cloth. Then it's ready to take some paint. We'll keep building that paint up, so keeping on going there with paint and sanding. It doesn't need a lot of sanding, by the way. It's very easy, very light, just fingertips and off you go. It's a really easy job. Just dusting, that's all you've got to do. Then go back and get another layer of dust on there. It doesn't need to be a high gloss or anything, it just wants to be satin. It's a paint satin, and then as long as you're clean, you got all that dust off. I say dust, you got all the dirt off and you're dusting on. And then just gone over it with thinners on a cloth to key it. You'll find you'll have no problems. So carrying on, just giving it what we needed to give it to make this box look the part. We think we're going to look really good when we're done here. Right, let's get another little job done now. If we paint inside as well, we may as well, while we're doing it, make a proper job. But also, when the heater fires up, you'll get a sort of fresh paint smell coming through. Well, it'll fade over the years probably, but it'll add to the new feel of the car as well. Because I noticed with Swampy, when you build everything, every nut and bolt, and the whole car's stripped back, then you get a factory smell coming back to it, with the vinyls mixing with the different vapours and things used in the car process. Whilst they might not have used the same type paint, you're still going to get a paint smell coming from the heater because it's so new. So that'll add to the ambience of the car. So paint inside your box too, and then when it gets warm and stuff, it'll just give you a smell that's new. You'd be surprised. So yeah, paint on the inside, just another little idea I had. So we can leather the inside. There's no problem with that, because there's no finish to worry about. We just want to dust everywhere else, so we still get the fibres. You don't want to build it up too thick so you start losing your fibres. You can always flat back and new fibres pop up, but it's best just to be very careful. Don't sand them out, just take it easy, just a cloth and thinners. If there's a little bit needs just a touch of sanding, then just do it like I just did. Nothing heavy, else you'll flat out all your little fibres. So take it easy on that. Now that I'm happy that I've got some layers on there, paint, we can always overlacquer if we want to. It helps you to keep it clean. I've done that on Swampy's and the overlacquering does work. Now that we've got that, I'm going to let the paint cure a little bit. So we're going to now rebuild the inner flap. I've got some parts ready that we had powder coated on another heater that we stripped down, so we can now fit the inner flap and get the rivets in. So we're going to do that now. I'm going to get that fitted. Right, so here's our damaged flap. This is a heat diversion flap, fresh air flap. What this does is, when you're connecting your when you're operating your lever for your hot and cold, this diverts the airflow from hot and cold. They've also done it so you can't fully shut off the cold air. It always leaves a small gap inside the heater box so fresh air is still coming in even if it's on full hot. That helps with demisting and stuff, because for humidity you'd want the air still coming in from outside. So they leave a little gap on the internals of this so that cold air still gets in, but most of it's shut when you're on full heat. It's just the way that they do it for fresh air. We're going to need to take the pin out of this now, just at the top, and then give this a wash in the sink. Then I've already got a flap rebuilt, so we just need to attach the special foam padding, which I bought some new stuff off eBay. So we're going to take the pin out, remove this, and then we're going to fit the pin. Sorry, not the pin, the new flap. I could actually just go and get the one that's already stripped down and use that. I'll go and have a look, see if it's readily available, because there's one already stripped. Okay, we've already got a flap nicely powder coated. That was part of the earlier process, and the rod was stripped, and they painted that rod as well, the hinge pin rod. So we're going to put that into the housing once we've fitted the foam to it. So I think it has foam both sides, and I think it goes right round and creates a seal. I'm just going to look at the other one and see where the foam fits. There's another tongue twister. Foam fits. Here's our foam, which I got off eBay. It's a neoprene foam, closed cell. I think it's just closed cell, not sure what it's called. I think it's closed cell. So we cut that self-adhesive. We heat the plate up first so it's nice and hot. That makes a better adhesion. Although it's quite warm now, but I'll heat that plate up, then we'll stick the foam on this. Then we lock it into that flap and we're good to go, and rivet it back into the body. So nice refurb work going on here for the heater box. Right, I've cut out the first piece of foam, a little slit in the top to go through that little flap, and then just cut round that bar. Just heating it up now on the heater, just a few seconds and we're right. Okay, let's bring it up. Hold on, we'll bring that up. That's nice and warm now. I'm going to take the self-adhesive off and we'll stick that one on. The other side's already cut, so we're ready to do this. Just self-adhesive now on this foam. Okay, the foam's on and the flap is reassembled into the carrier. A tip for you if you're doing it, you don't have this bar fitted, you have that bar lifted up, this locking bar here, which has got the pin. This has got the pin which goes inside the car for your lever for your hot and cold. And that's like that's a square shaped pin. Make sure that's clean and greased before you put it together. Make sure you just sand that down nicely so it's smooth, because they can be tricky. This goes up in the bulkhead, and then this comes inside your shaft of the heater. Selector rod goes inside the car through the bulkhead and engages onto this. When you fit your heater in your car, you've got to come and find that inside the car and lock the square bar onto it, the locking lever inside the car. I've just put some grease on there so it's greased for life. The flap should move nice and freely like this. Look, make sure it's moving around of its own accord. You don't want it to be stiff. If it's stiff, have a look if there's anything that you've done. You've got to make sure you cut your foam just inboard of this lip here, otherwise it'll try and compress the foam as it closes and you can't quite get it to close. So that's how it should look. Nothing can get through there. And this side again, it's cut the slit. This is important, this face, because it butts up against this inner piece to create the seal. Okay, so that's making the seal, and also makes a nice soft cushion, so when you're operating the levers in the car, it all sounds nice and soft. I had to just trim that last piece off. I was overcut, so I just cut and took that piece out because it wouldn't close very well. It was trying to, and I know that when I do the lever it'll be pulling against me, so make it so it's nice and smooth. Just cut on just on the inside, so that's nicely foamed up. The bar clips back in place once you insert it, so lift the bar up, push the rod that way, get the flap into position, then push it back that way, then push it in, and it'll lock into these two locking tabs here, ping, and off you go. Nicely greased up at those points there so it's smooth. That's ready to insert back into the heater box, and we can put the rivets on it. Let's get that back in there now. Alright, we've started on the heater casing, so I'm going to just clean that up, get the dust off it. A little bit of thinners to do that, just to break down any bits and also create some base. if I was going to paint it, actually not, so I could have got away without using thinners, but we're going to try and repair, we're going to repair this broken connector here. I'll show you how we do that in a sec. Let's just get this clean and ready. Let's clean the casing, front casing of the motor housing, and we'll just got the thinners on there to key it. I'm going to wipe that back with the cloth here. I'm going to get this painted up first before we put the connector back on, then we don't end up having to mask off the connector. Clean the end of the connector there. We'll glue this back in. We're going to use some super duper, the JB Weld. I'm going to weld that in place. So I'm going to get the paint on this next, get it looking similar finish to what we got over there. Here we go. Paint going on, just satin black, that's all we need. Boom boom, and we're off. An opportunity to clean the brushes. The bearing on this is really good, it freewheels nicely, but the brushes aren't too bad. But we're going to use a little piece of card, which we just cut a square, and you use that edge to clean the brushes. If you've not got a little fiberglass scrubbing brush, I've not got one, we use a piece of card and we just run that over those brushes and clean them up before we put this back together. Just wipe them blades down. Some 3-in-1 oil on the bearings. Can't get to the top bearing. We're going to try, but I don't think we can get into the top to give it the 3-in-1. So we'll do that bottom bearing, but it is quite nice and free, this. So that's a commutator there, the copper commutator. That's that thing you see virtually in the middle of your screen. It's called the commutator. That's part of the motor and the way that it works. We'll not go into that, but the carbon brushes are just at either side and they look okay. And they brush on that and supply currents to different segments as it rotates to do with the magnetic field and the windings, motor stuff. I can tell you if you really want to know. There's your commutator. We're going to clean that with that little edge of card and put some switch contact cleaner on, which evaporates off quick and leaves no residue. That's what you want. Okay, we're off with that now. Okay, brick acid to clean the plug up. It'll dissolve the oxidization on the plug, the motor plug there. You'll see it was in green. It's now instantly cleaned it. Took it back to copper. So it's all you need. Just brick acid, which you get from a builder's yard. Carefully, don't get it in your eyes, but that'll clean your copper contacts up. Just got to neutralize it after. While just going to wash it down. Don't worry about washing it. Because copper, it'll just kill the acid back off so it doesn't keep eating away. So a little bit of cement cleaner, brick acid cement cleaner, and that gets your connectors looking as they should do. Good little tip for you there. Works on all types of connectors as well. What I do after this, I've done this, is I put on a contact lube. It's like a cream gel and it just gives it a barrier. So later on when we're assembling the loom, it's already pre-greased and ready to rock. Okay, let's do this connector can go back into the housing now, which is now nice and dry. We may as well just clean up these spades at the end here too, and then we're good to go. So we're going to head up and do that now. You'll just see those connectors at the end, but they need a little bit of help. Alright, let's get that cleaned up. In this instance I'm going to use some Vaseline for these connectors here, and I'll seal it with some of this little wax spray just in case any water gets onto these plugs. So Vaseline can work as good as contact connector dip in, and it just helps, stops corrosion. So we'll stick them in the end of there and they're rocking, and then the same later on when that's done. I'll just seal it with a little bit of wax as well. I'll put this back together now. There we go. Okay, so just finishing with a little bit of spray waxing. The Vaseline and waxed up. That wax, say it's a protective coat, and it'll just stop any moisture getting into that plug. All I've got to do now is put some 3-in-1 oil on that bearing there, and that's ready. So I'll get me 3-in-1 oil, and then we can put this back in its casing.
Renamed, as say, it's been extended and renamed now Memories of Another Future, 3 bonus tracks, 2 brand new tracks, and this as well you'll find on the record.
Do you hear this music? This music makes me want to smash that radio right off the wall. I hate that kind of music. Listen to it. Get the fuck off my station. Running very smooth. So nice smooth operation on the fan. We had to test it before we put it together. It'd be crazy if we didn't test it. It's a little power pack just to run it up. Nice and beautiful. It runs even better with the 3-in-1 now worked its way in. A little bit on the front end as well, and then tipped it upside down. I think that's got into the end bearing too. So that means we're good to go here. We're looking really smart. The only thing that's stressing me is the radio. This is a joy. Doesn't matter what this project throws at me. I enjoy every challenge, but the radio and the adverts and crap music is what stresses me. So everyone say you never get stressed. I do. Adverts and shit music. Great, good music, 80s, I like that. Okay, we're going to mix our JB. Well, there it is, everybody. And we're going to mould that plug in because they always break off. So we're going to mould round the back with JB Weld. It's quick setting stuff. It's great stuff to have in your toolkit. We'll mix it up now, 2-part epoxy. Then we'll just let it circle round there and set. And we're good to go. We've bolted the motor in, nice new galv bolt. And it's nicely finished there. That shine will dull off a little bit, which is what we want. We just want it to shine to slightly fade off. But we're looking good, and we're going to be landing in there soon. So all tested electrically. We're going to put some grease in the end of the connectors as well. Some Vaseline. But yeah, we're looking good. Let's get the JB Weld mixed. Pop that bad boy a pop over there. Get a little bit of cardboard and a spatula now, and we'll mix up and get that blobbed on. Oh, good record. Alright, time for these lovely brackets that we had galvanised to be fit to the top. These are for the vacuum hose guide for the pipe. It just takes it across the bulkhead there. But what we've done, re-riveted, but we've also put a reinforcing plate on the inside. Alright, so that means that you can't rip it out as easy because they always used to tear out. So extra support from the back there. Okay, carrying on with the next one now, which just goes over this side here. Another plate being made for that. We'll fit those, and then we can get the insides riveted in. Let's go. Here we go, another one on. So now we've got those. We've got to do these bottom ones. They're easy to do, so we'll get right on and do those bottom ones now. They've got backing plates inside there. Okay. Okay, Sean's just helped me with holding that bracket at the back. My rivets are in, ready to rock. So we've got one in, so we're okay. I'm just using the angled rivet as it's easier. I've got one that you pump at the front, but I didn't want to slam into the box of it, so I've gone for the angle to play it safe. Angled rivet. We're just getting these mount plates on now. Pop them rivets on. Pop, pop. Okay, all them ones in for that bracket. Sean supporting me at the back. There he is. He's back, that lad. He's back. You having fun? He's been sorting them. How did the nuts and bolts go, Sean?
Alright, all sorted.
Not too boring.
Oh, it was a little bit. Bad back.
He's done it. Right, rivet that now. Right.
Where you could have fixed it with putting.
And the West. Well, meanwhile, Russia's military has created a force tasked with waging information warfare. Well, let's talk to former Kremlin advisor.
Opposites, eh? I don't know, it's just instinct to do the opposite side.
Russia's quite this sort of thing, isn't it?
Well, I don't know about Russia being so good about it, but
Ruskies.
which are going to destroy the country, I think, around the soldiers and not the
Russian bear.
there's absolutely, the chance of having any combat there is so
Okay,
slim.
that's that done.
I think
Okay, we're doing good. So our last few rivets going in for the diversion flap assembly. Just check that everything clears first, hands in, and just see that we've got good operation, which we have. Nice, you can hear it just making a nice buff noise, which we like. So that'll be a nice quiet operation in the car, no thudding. So this rivet to go in then, and then I think that's it for the plastic. Then we're just down to fitting the back box on it. We've got some mastic on here, like the rubbery non-setting stuff, so we put that on that edge for the airtight seal, and then we use that as well round the back of the box, so that if you ever had to get in it again, you could use tiger seal, but once you're on with tiger seal, I think you're locked forever. But I don't anticipate ever opening this box up in my lifetime, but I just feel, in case anyone in like 2050 or something comes in there, I don't know, I think I'm going to mastic it on. Tiger seal will probably be better, but I'm going to mastic it on with this stuff that's available. I'll take you over to it actually, because you use it for your wings, putting your wings on your car. It's called Eastwood Flexible Strip Caulk in black. Seals out moisture and dirt, non-hardening and paintable, replicates original equipment caulking. So it's for round hoses and pipes and for doing your wings. So we'll use that. We have got the rest of it to use for the Ruby's front wings. Okay, so we're looking good. One more rivet. I'll pop that rivet in now, and then we can put this on its front. We'll have a look at the front end. Rivet on. Last one. Okay, cleaned up and pop that on a sheet just so we can see it a bit better, and get some nice footage of it. All that remains to do now is to place the plenum drain in position and mark the hole in our new securing tab and send that screw through there, and then that's it for today. I've put the front plate on for the heater matrix, but we've not got a matrix done yet. We need to get that done and fitted. Heater matrix just slides in and out of the unit, and we need to finish the back off. We need the clips for the top, the securing clips for the top. I have got some new old stock ones. I'm trying to locate them at the moment. If not, I'm going to have to get some new ones if I can't find them. I'm sure I had a pack. I may have used them all on Swampy. I'm not sure. I didn't think I had, but it's possible. I'm going to just line up that plenum drain now, and then mark the screw through, and then that's it for today. It's been a long day. Time goes quick. Today was Hurricane Doris, so it's been a crazy day. So this day in history, 23rd of Feb, a special day for everybody. Okay, just all nicely in position so we can study our handiwork. Other than the backing plate, we're all done. Alright, hoping you like that. So round we go. We've even got a serial number sticker there, which we had remade especially for the job. Attention to detail, based upon the Ford catalogue, the Ford workshop manual. Had to scan, zoom in, and replicate that label. They probably all fell off in the first few weeks because you don't often see them on the cars, but they certainly show up in the Ford book. There's also another tag that goes inside, and there's a paper label sticks underneath. Okay, if you really want to go to town. I'm happy with the quality level of this. It's going to achieve what I want. Just take you over and above so you can see those heater hose pipes there as I raise up on the camera with my arm stretched right out to get you in. So feast your eyes on that to carry on with part 29. As you know, if you go to the end of 28, we left you building this heater box. So if you've not seen 28, just skip to the end of 28, although we'd prefer you watch it all, and you'll see where we left off with the heater. So we are now done, and there's your plenum drain, there's your galv brackets, there's your vacuum hose, securing brackets, heater matrix, bulkhead plate, Delair pronounced nicely there. A good finish here. I'm liking this finish. Now that looks a transformation on what we had. Really lovely smooth setting bearings. Our repaired plug there, very solid. Vaselined up ready, cleaned out, and acid etched cleaned, and then sealed with the Vaseline. And inside the flying leads have got Vaseline and a wax seal, so if it gets wet in there they've got some extra protection. So little tour around, and there we can move on to another project. It's going to be a week delay in the video. I'm having holiday, so it's going to jump into, we're going to be into March. February's still almost 23rd, as I said. We're going to be jumping into March by the time I'm back. But I'd like to have left this nicely done, so I'll just clip the back on loosely, then I'll bubble wrap this up and put it in a very good storage box and hide it somewhere safe. I don't want it anywhere near where I'm working. This is to be treated with total care. As I said, one move and it's all over. But just a view from the back, and we're done. And a view from underneath. Alright, I'm getting out. I've had enough today of a long day, 8 hours. A long day. So about 2 days to do a box properly, as long as you've got all the bits. Moving on to the next task. Heater box done for this part of the video. Wrap and go. Or maybe just show you us fitting the rear of the sealant. Maybe one more short little clip. Okay guys, now that I'm really happy with the heater box, we're going to finish off and seal it up now. So we've decided we're going to use the mastic strips, because they just seem to work quite nicely and give a good seal. So these are the mastic strips that I got from Eastwood's Frost. Just described what they were just a few minutes ago, so no need to go over that. So we're going to lay them down. They come in strips already pretty handily sized for the heater box, so we can follow the inlay that they used for the seal, which just goes around the whole perimeter of the box with the exception of the opening at the back, and then just across here. We might have to just go a little bit thicker on that rum. I've just closed the lid up and it does touch down on it. It doesn't actually adhere to the inside face straight away, simply because it can't pressurize this area here, so when I pull the box off it's stuck to it, but it just comes off quite quick. But no air's going to get through, so that's the main objective. Round here it's going to probably seal a bit better. So I'm going to go ahead and inlay the nice mastic seal for the heater. I think that's going to keep it nice and original, rather than going for a silicone or a tiger seal. So here we go now to lay out the beading, the mastic beading. I'll put that on. So on with the mastic. I have to talk up because the microphone's a little bit over there, but we could do with a remote mic. So our strips are all the way around now. I'm just going to talk a little bit louder, simply because I've not got an external remote mic for this thing. Over here for one more line of mastic. Bum 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 bum. Do 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 do. That seems to be. Oh yeah, I like the way that's going on. I can feel that just nicely settling in, compressing down. We'll get the torch and go around and have a look how it's sealing. I've just got to go on the inside here. The slot's just on the inside. And across. I think that's the right procedure. That's it, it's gone in. Closing down. Very nice. Very nice. Oh yeah, it's squashing in good. Oh, it's the good stuff. It's just nicely squeezing. It's kind of like just, it feels right. This is a factory job. I'm happy about this. Okay, I'm going to pause it there and get the clips on now. I'm going to stick the clips all the way around this edge. The nice little brand new old stock ones. We'll go up to the stores and get those right now. Okay, so now I just start tapping on the trim clips. They just fit over the top, and light tap over, and that'll slide down into the fiberglass. So we just see the original scratch points where they were. We just pick them up. So securing clips going on now. I've got one in at this end, looking nice and factory there. So we'll put them all the way around where they used to go, and then I think that's it, other than the heater matrix. We'll put some power to it and just feel the air blasting out, and then it's time to put it in its safe packing box, waiting for the car. When the radiator's done, we can slot that in at a later point, it's not a problem. So we're almost done now. Just the rest of those clips to tap in. You'll see the indentation here where the original clip was, and you'll see me now slide that over there, and we tap lightly at the top. Whoa! That's because I'm one-handed with a camera. Don't think we can do it. Nerve-wracking this. But we can. And just use that smaller end to get yourself in. We got it. A few more then. Clips. Okay, all your clips on. All 12. Counted them off the other box. 12 came off. 12 on the other box as well. 12 came off on mine. 12 gone back on. Look, factory. That gives it a nice finish. And they were done in an anodised black, so we've kept them that colour. The mount brackets, I've seen both, as I said, I've seen both different types. Always with rivets. But with the brackets, sometimes they're powder coated black or painted black at the factory, other times they're left with an anodised, so we've gone for anodised or passivate. It's time now to put this in a safe container. I thought you might find this interesting. Just going to show you how the fresh and hot air system works on this. The hammer there is just jamming the flap up. This opening here, that opening there, that goes straight to your fresh air vents. So there's a tube inside the car that picks up here a manifold, comes straight down and straight up to the fresh air vents, goes nowhere else. Okay, doesn't go anywhere else at all. Now at the moment the flap's jammed upwards, and that would indicate fresh air all the way up like this. So cold all the way up. Alright, and that goes straight to the, hold on, I'm going to jam the hammer in it. I don't think I can do it. When that flaps all the way up, all the air is forced out from the fan straight to the fresh air vents. Now that's connected with your hot and cold sliding lever, so all the way to the right for cold, brings everything out to the fresh air vents. And also when you go all the way to the right and you pull on your heater controller, it gives full power to the fan, at the same time moving that flap. So that flap is connected to the hot and cold. In here you can see that whilst that flap's shut, whilst that flap's closed there, it still allows some air to get through to your feet and to the demisters through an opening here. You see that opening, so you can't completely seal off the cold air. It always leaves a little bit open, so you can never actually get it completely cold. The reason for that, so you can demist. Okay, so that's how it works. I'm going to run you through that again. This flap here, your main flap. First, let's talk about the ducting. This circular hole here, that's fresh air ducting, straight out, straight to the fresh air vents, face level, face your vents. Doesn't go anywhere else out that tube. Out that tube, splits in a manifold, passenger side and driver's side face vents. No further action, straight up to those. Here, this is the mixture of warm and cold air coming out to your feet and to the screen. So here's inside the bulkhead is another box with a diverter flap on it. As you do feet or screen or both, that diverter flap moves like that, and then two ductings come off, demist to the screen and down to your feet. So that's all that flap does. So on your lever, you've got that down and up lever, and that just does this on the inside of the car, inside the separate heater box, which we're going to be building next, by the way. We've remembered what we've got to do. We're building the actual diverter flap box. Okay, so a diverter flap, that's one of the controls explained. Imagine my hand is the diverter and it's up and down. That's all it does, just diverts it. So to get the mixture of hot, cold or warm air, it operates this flap with your hot and cold lever. So that's the second lever explained, hot and cold to the right, hot to the left, and all it does when you move that is move this that way. Okay, that's all that happens with that. Now if it goes all, no matter what happens for hot and cold, fresh air isn't affected, right? So let's say that's halfway. Half of the air now goes through the heater matrix, and then to create warm, because that would now be hot, so if that's halfway in the middle, then it starts to divert it through this heater matrix. But to get warm air, you've got to mix hot with cold. Now it's not about the amount of flow going through the core, it's about the mixture of hot and cold. How can I explain that better? Let me think about it this way. This flap here, regardless of its position, you'll always get in your full flow of air coming through to the face vents. So face vents are unaffected by the hot and cold lever. It won't make any difference. There's a slight speed up because you lose a bit going through here when it allows a bit more to go through, but essentially, strictly speaking, that makes no difference to your hot air, your fresh air. If you look at the way that it works, the fan's to the right, and it doesn't matter where that is, it still puts the same, what we could call it, the same surface area is still moving and making no difference to the volume of air coming out of here. So hot and cold adjustment wouldn't affect the face vents, okay? But what it does affect is how much air goes through the radiator core and how much it allows to escape through that escape chamber here. Escape chamber is just end of the torch. It's split. Now above the escape chamber is the heater matrix. So if I wanted cold air, if I wanted warm air, that flap goes to halfway position, which allows most of the air to go through the escape, but some starts to come through the red hot heater core, then mixes the two together here. So cold air is always coming through, then some red hot air comes through, but because there's still plenty of cold, that comes out as warm. To get it really hot, that's all the way down, then 75% hot air comes through with 25% cold. You've always got 25% cold coming out that escape valve. So red hot's never really red hot because it always allows some fresh air in. The reason for that is because if you allowed all the hot air to go through the rad, I think that it'd lose some of the fresh air capabilities. I'm not quite sure, but it is mixed that way and it's set. Alright, so it means that you've got fresh air actually coming out the heater vents that isn't going through the core of the radiator. So true cold is true cold because you can't shut down the rad with the water flow. It's always pumping through it. It's not got a valve on here that regulates the water flow. That's always a red hot core. So you've got to have some control. I think that's how they've done it. They've split it. Okay. While I'm in with the those mastics, we've got to put the mastic round the fan. Forgot about that. And also the screws have got these space off washers just inside, so we fit them and we put a touch of grease just on each screw fixing because the dampness in here, we don't want them corroding out inside. So I'll just grease them up. It's not really a mega important thing, but may as well do it. Just know them screws are nice and easy. Okay, so I'll fit these spacer washers out and we'll fit the mastic seal around the fan, and then that fan heater box is definitely done. Going to do that now. Mastic. Very nice feeling doing this right, guys. Very nice feeling just to do the right job. So mastic bead on. Round we go. There's the grease holding our washers in place, handy so they don't fall out of position. Makes life easier. And mastic band round. It'll take a while to flatten that down. So we'll gently apply the pressure and just let it squash down, okay? There's the fan just out there. I think we can, when that's in the engine bay, we're going to know. We're going to show. And you're just relaxing in the deck chair, reading a book in the summer sun. Let's hope it is. And we can look in the engine bay knowing everything was done right. And underneath there's a nice proper job. So everyone wants to have a little inspection. Not that I'll be letting them take the heater out, but you know what I mean. Just go round, finger and thumb. Flatten that out. Line your washers up. That should be it now, flush. The rest should just slightly compress as we need. I didn't want to put too much force on the fan body, I'd rather do this first. There we go. Wrapped, and away we go into stores. So I triple wrap that with bubble and pack that away till we need it in a few months' time. Okay, onto the distribution box now.
EPR are holding Tottenham to a goalless draw in the Premier League's first game of the day. Former Spurs boss Harry Redknapp is up against his old side for the first time since he left the club in the summer. At 3, fourth place Chelsea both to Stoke. Newcastle didn't expect to be in a relegation.
Just lower your head down, get up. Timid it as well, that's why I was saying get down. It's funny actually, just say I'm full. Can I hold this?
Yeah, you can hold that.
Obviously not pointing at my face, that chance of
I think that might be plugged in, that though.
Great!
Have you done your health and safety course?
No.
Right. Disclaimers. Not responsible for any accidents in this workshop.
Now, I've got an idea.